everybody. Welcome to ICC's Game of the Week with your host, as always, Joel Benjamin. Let's have one last look at the Olympiad to examine an imaginative queen sacrifice by English GM Gawain Jones. Such sacrifices are often difficult to evaluate and perhaps harder still to play. The normal rules of evaluation don't easily apply when you have such material disparity. Let's see how Jones and his Vietnamese opponent, Anh Khoi Nguyen, wrestled with the challenge. Okay, so Nguyen playing white, Jones playing black, and we're going to have a King's Indian. I don't think we have all that many King's Indians on Game of the Week. Of course, over time, we've had our share. Castle, so a bit of a move order trick for black, encouraging white to play e5. In some cases, black might even try to play c6 and d5 instead of going with d6. But the game goes back into normal channels. After knight f3, Jones just plays standard way d6. And now bishop e2, of course, is the classical main line leading into the Mordell platter variation after e5 castles, knight c6. But that's not what we have today. We have a move that is actually fairly trendy among the grandmasters, h3. And okay, this move obviously controls from pinning, but also a large part of it is to prepare to develop the bishop to e3. Very nice square. It guards the center very well. And then from bishop e3, white could play queen d2 or knight d2, guarding his center. And there's a very real possibility white will also play g4 later. When the center gets blocked, we see a lot of wing play in the King's Indian. So against this move h3, okay, black, I guess, has a little decision in the center, but the standard response is e5. And if this is your first King's Indian, then note that that pawn is not really hanging because black will have a counter in the center on the long diagonal. So the idea of h3 really is that white wants to block the center with d5. And now black has some choice here. If you look on the database, the most often played move is a5, with ideas of bringing the knight out to a6 and to c5. I would say the main line probably is knight h5, in terms of the major grandmaster games. And of course, once you get the structure, black is looking to play f5, and we could have quite a lot of fights over this move. White can try to keep the knight out with g3, and it can get very sharp. So Jones plays knight a6 that has an idea to put the knight on c5 immediately and maybe follow up with a5. But also the knight doesn't necessarily have to go to c5 after white's next move. And Nguyen plays bishop e3, although bishop g5 is often seen here. And that's a move we often see in the King's Indian to provoke the move h6 and then come back. And the idea is that the h6 pawn can be a target, or maybe after black plays f5, the g6 pawn can be a target. But on bishop g5, black could also play queen e8. And you see the point of the knight on a6, that there's no sneak attack with knight b5 because the knight guards c7. Nguyen puts the bishop on e3, normal square. And now here again, knight h5 is possible, but Jones plays knight c5, knight d2, and only now knight h5. So this is actually quite strange timing on black's part to play this at this moment when the knight can be kicked back. Usually, having come this far, black plays a5. That's how most of the games go.